Have you ever felt an urge to always be right or stand out above others? Maybe you found yourself defending your opinions passionately, even on topics that aren't that important, or seeking recognition in a way that sometimes feels uncontrollable. In this video, we're going to talk about those signs that reveal when the ego is taking control. It happens to all of us at some point, and the first step to managing it is learning to identify those moments when the ego takes over our decisions and attitudes. By the end, you'll clearly understand how to recognize these signs in your own life and know how to start regaining balance to live with more authenticity and connection to who you truly are. One of the first signs that the ego is taking control is the need to always be right. When the ego is activated, it pushes us to cling to our opinions as if they were an extension of ourselves. We feel the need to defend our ideas and convince others that we are right, seeking validation and affirmation. Think about those everyday arguments, maybe on social media or during a chat with friends. Sometimes, the topic might be as simple as which series is better or the best place to eat. Yet, you feel you need others to see things your way, even if the conversation becomes tense or uncomfortable. The next time you find yourself in this situation, pause and ask yourself, is it really important to win this argument? Or is it just the ego seeking the spotlight? By questioning yourself, you can reduce that need to always be right and focus on what truly matters in each interaction. Another sign that the ego is taking control is when we feel the constant need to compare ourselves to others. The ego seeks validation by measuring our worth based on how we stack up against others, and this can lead us to evaluate our achievements, lifestyle, or even physical appearance in comparison to those around us. Think about those moments on social media. You see photos of someone traveling, achieving a new goal, or simply showcasing their lifestyle. Without realizing it, you start wondering if you're doing enough, if your life is as interesting as theirs. The ego feels insecure and needs that comparison to confirm its value. Instead of focusing on these external comparisons, reflect on what your own goals and aspirations are. Ask yourself what you truly desire, beyond what others are doing. Focusing on your own path will help reduce that constant need for comparison and connect you with what truly matters to you. Another clear sign that the ego is taking control is when we start taking everything personally. The ego interprets any comment or action from others as if it were directed at us, making us feel attacked or criticized, even when that wasn't the intention. For example, imagine a friend makes a neutral comment about how they like to organize their time. Even without direct criticism, you might feel it's a comment about your own way of managing time and get defensive, thinking it's a critique of you. The ego takes over and makes us see attacks where there are none. The next time you feel this way, pause and ask yourself, does this really have to do with me, or is it just a reaction from the ego? Questioning your interpretation will help you see situations more objectively and reduce unnecessary defensiveness, achieving a state of greater peace and clarity. Another sign that the ego is in control is when we become excessively critical of others. To feel superior or more valuable, the ego seeks to bring others down. This can manifest as constant comments about others' mistakes or a tendency to judge others' actions and decisions negatively. Think about common situations, like when someone makes a mistake at work or posts something on social media that doesn't seem appropriate or interesting to you. The ego quickly jumps in with criticism, taking every opportunity to point out those flaws and project a sense of superiority. To counteract this tendency, try practicing understanding instead of judgment. Remember that everyone is facing their own challenges and that what you see of others is only a small part of their reality. Practicing empathy instead of criticism will help you see others with more humanity and reduce the ego's influence on your relationships. One of the strongest signs that the ego is in charge is feeling like everything revolves around us. The ego makes us believe we are the center of the universe, and we start interpreting everything that happens around us as if it's about us or for us, as if every situation reflects on us personally. For example, imagine someone cancels a meeting with you. The ego might make you think that person doesn't value you or is upset with you, when in reality, they might have had a last-minute commitment or just a tough day. Or if someone acts distant, the ego could lead you to believe you've done something wrong, without considering that person might be dealing with their own issues. To counter this sign, try putting yourself in others' shoes and consider that just like you, everyone has their own interests, problems, and motivations that aren't always about you. Remembering this will help you see the bigger picture, reduce the ego's influence, and allow you to relate with more empathy and understanding. Another sign that the ego is taking control is when we reject criticism or feedback. The ego tends to react with rejection, annoyance, or even anger to any comment suggesting we could improve or change something. Any critique, no matter how constructive, is perceived as a threat to our identity and how we see ourselves. Imagine a situation where someone in good faith offers a suggestion to help you improve at work or in a personal project. Instead of seeing it as an opportunity to grow, the ego gets defensive. You think the other person is being unfair or doesn't value what you do. You react automatically, maybe shutting down the dialogue or justifying your actions without truly considering the advice. To handle this sign, try listening without reacting immediately. When someone offers you criticism or suggestions, breathe, take it in, and ask yourself if there's something you can learn from it. Seeing criticism as an opportunity for growth not only reduces the ego's influence, but also helps you continuously develop and improve. A more subtle yet powerful sign that the ego is taking control is the so-called spiritual ego. This happens when a person, as they advance in their personal growth or spiritual practice, starts to feel they are better or more aware than others. The ego reappears, this time disguised as spiritual superiority. In the realm of personal development, this manifests in very common ways. Maybe someone who has started meditating, reading about spirituality, or practicing mindfulness begins to think they have a higher level of understanding. That person might view others' experiences or choices as inferior or less conscious, forgetting that everyone is at different stages and processes of learning. To counter this sign, it's essential to cultivate genuine humility. Remember that the path of personal growth has no end. It's a continuous and unique process for each person. Staying humble and open allows us not only to learn from everyone, but also to advance with a real awareness that true growth comes from accepting that we are all, always, works in progress. We've gone through some of the most common signs that the ego is taking control, from the need to always be right, constant comparisons, and taking everything personally, to rejecting criticism and the spiritual ego. Observing these signs in our lives is essential to start living with greater balance and authenticity. Remember, we all experience these impulses at some point, and it's not about eliminating them entirely, but learning to recognize and manage them with awareness. This first step of observation is key to ensuring the ego doesn't define our actions and relationships. Tell us in the comments, did you identify with any of these signs? Have you had similar experiences on your path to self-awareness? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content on personal development and self-awareness. See you in the next video.